Hi there, it's Kute here, sending you love wherever you are around the world. You know, on the spiritual journey, the journey of personal growth and transformation, what I've seen over the last 14, 15, 16 years of coaching amazing individuals from all walks of life is that there are a few things that often stop us from truly stepping into our full greatness, our true self-expression, our true power. There's a few things, but one of the things that I have seen stops us from truly stepping into the fullness of who we are and owning our innate ability and power is this: not trusting your intuition. Not trusting your intuition. I've had so many people that often say to me, "Kute, how do I tap into my intuition? How do I make a decision? How do I tune into that deeper knowing? And how do I discern my intuition from my thinking?" You know, if you're living a life where you're constantly analyzing in the mind, a life lived through the lens simply of the mind is a limited life, because that mind itself is conditioned. The mind itself is programmed. The mind itself has its limitations. Your intuitions, those whisperings that arise from the depth of your being, those knowings that you don't quite know how you know, but there's a deeper knowing that is beyond your past, beyond your stories, beyond your conditioning. Your intuition is the way that your soul, the way that the infinite, the way that life itself is arising through you and seeking to communicate and express itself through you. Yet from the moment we're born, in many ways, we get so many distractions. We're told what to do, what not to do, what to feel, what not to feel. And slowly over time, as these intuitive creatures, as these intuitive children, we start disconnecting from our feeling dimension, our feeling capacity. And as a result, we often stop trusting ourselves. We often stop trusting our natural impulses. And as a result, we often stop listening to the depth of our own hearts, the depth of our own souls, the depth of our own knowing. When you do not listen to your knowing, that deeper knowing, when you do not listen to that deeper knowing of your soul, let's call it your intuition, you simply set yourself up to be betrayed. Because in that moment you don't listen to your intuition, that deeper knowing inside, what you end up doing is you betray yourself. Where in your life, how in your life, with whom in your life, how many times in your life have you known something? You have known something. You went into a situation and it was like, something feels a little off here. Or you met someone, you went on a date and there was a romantic chemistry and something, maybe on paper everything was great, but something in your being just kind of had this sensation, even though you had no logical proof for it, no physical, tangible proof for it. Something in your being said, something feels a little off. When you feel that something feels a little off, I challenge you, I invite you to listen. Listening is the key to your power. Listening to your soul, listening to that depth of intuition and knowing. Because that intuition is arising from your soul, and your soul is one with everything. Your soul is connected to everything. And as a result, that part of you beyond your mind, that part of you from which your intuition is arising from, is not only everything, it knows everything. So when you are guided by your soul and follow the current of your intuition, you will be guided to meet certain people and certain situations and certain experiences and into some circumstances that will be way beyond anything you could make up, visualize, strategize through the limitation of your mind. Your intuition is infinite. Your conditioned thinking is limited. Have you ever had a moment where you were faced with a decision in your life, a relationship, a purchase, a job situation, moving, whatever the decision might have been, and rather than feeling more deeply, feeling deeper into the depth of your being and settling into that deeper dimension of yourself, you try to figure it out and strategize with your mind. There is no peace to the mind. We often try to find peace in the mind, but there's no peace to the mind. The peace rests in a far deeper place in your being. And in those moments where you try and figure it out, your mind tells you, well, do this. And then you make that decision and something's not quite settled inside of yourself. And then your mind tells you, no, do that. And then you go in that direction. And then all of a sudden, your mind tells you, no, do this. And then you go, okay. And then it goes, and constantly you're back and forth, back and forth, back and forth every single day, not truly centered, coming from the depth of your soul. There is a game that I have seen people play over and over and over and over and over again. You might have played this yourself, but I have seen that it robs you of your power. There is a power inside of you that knows. And so the game that I've seen people play that robs them of the power is what I call the I don't know game. Maybe you've played that, or you know someone that's played that. The I don't know game, it's a game of confusion. You know, you're in a situation, maybe you have a relationship, and you start saying, well, I'm not sure if what I should do, whether I should break up, whether I should not break up, whether I should commit. I don't know if I really love them or not. I'm not sure how you feel, and then the confusion starts, and then you start speaking to your friend, and one friend tells you that, another friend tells you this, and then you're even more confused, and you play this game of like, I don't know. The other one is like, I don't know what my life purpose is. I'm not sure. I don't know what my life purpose is. What should I do with my life? When very well, if you are truly 100% honest with yourself, it takes courage to be honest. To be the willingness to be honest with yourself is the first step to transformation. The willingness to be radically, ruthlessly honest, compassionately honest is the first step to transformation. When you are that honest with yourself, when it comes down to it, often you'll have to admit, you know what? There is a part of me that knows. I do know. You see, but what happens when you truly own your knowing, when you stop second guessing yourself, stop the self-doubt, when you truly own the fact that you do know. The amount of times I've spoken to friends and clients, and they break up in relationships and they're crying and oh my God, and woe is me, and I'm a victim, and he and she did it to me. When I look them in the eyes and I say, but you knew that that was the wrong person, didn't you? But you knew that something was off from the beginning, didn't you? They often kind of break down and look at me like they're crying all of a sudden, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I did know. When I first met that person, something felt off. When I first had that business meeting with my potential partner, my gut said, don't do it, but everything seemed so cool on the surface, and then they robbed me, they betrayed me, they cheated on me, whatever it was. When you betray your intuition, you are the one in that moment that actually begins by betraying yourself. That's where the self-betrayal starts. To truly give up the game of the I don't know, the confusion game. You know, many times the ego creates the game of I don't know and the confusion, which creates a smoke screen around you. And in that moment of I don't know, it kind of is a protection mechanism, a safety mechanism, because if you don't know what your life purpose is and you're not really sure what to do and the next steps to take, then it gives you an excuse to actually stay stuck and not move forward and risk the vulnerability of failure and risk the vulnerability of rejection, risk the vulnerability of not looking good, risk the vulnerability of going into the unknown. To step out of where you are and go into the unknown. So confusion actually kind of gives you a logical excuse to not do anything, to not put yourself on the line and give your gifts fully and take that risk because you don't know. When deep down, there is a part of you, if you're truly honest, if your loved one's lives were on the line, if your life was on the line and you have to decide, you know. So what is your truth? What is it that you are pretending to not know? The knowing and the acknowledgement of which would set you free. You see, when you own your knowing, there is a responsibility in that. There's no more victims. There's no more games. There's no more, well, I didn't know they were like that. I knew. And in that responsibility, you give up victimhood. In that moment, you actually are forced to own your power. Not trusting your intuition is just a one way to not fully step into and own the power of your being that you already are. You are powerful. So I invite you, if you have not trusted your intuition, those deeper, finer feelings as you go through life, trust it. When your intuition says turn left, turn left. But the mind goes, but why? But why? But what? Trust it. When something says don't go there, don't go there. When something says turn around, because there is a intelligent GPS mechanism inside of your being. And every dream you have, every vision you have, every true authentic desire you have, encoded in that desire is the intelligent seed for its fulfillment, for which if you listen, if you truly listen and allow yourself to be guided by something deeper than your mind, you will be guided to be the right person in the right place at the right time, rightly. So my amazing friends, dare to be powerful. Trust your intuition. It's the way your soul, the way the universe is speaking through you. Just know I love you lots. If you enjoyed this video and this blog below, I request that you subscribe to my blog, to my channel. Let's stay in touch. I'm sending you lots of love. Love now.